horror is like a lot of genres. You can't start someone out with the classics all the time. You have to let them make their own way into it.
I love horror as a thing. I can't say it with my stupid country accent.
Again, in every man, there's the belief that we could kill a home invader.
Oh no, he only watches Avatar: Last Airbender. Spearman head! Spearman head!
And then I see one, I go, oh fuck. And then turn around, I see another one. And then they just start coming towards me. And I'm like, no.
I don't believe in ghosts.
But...
Hello, everybody! Happy Sunday. It's Sunday for Patreons, Sunday for us, it's Tuesday for you because you don't give us any money. Welcome to the Low Poly Podcast, episode 15! Yes! Hi, Josh.
I'm pretty fucking tired now.
Yeah, man. You want to go for a quick nap before the rest?
I'm just going to sleep. You talk and I'll just chime.
How about we film us having a nap?
Yeah.
And then the podcast is after the nap. It's a 4-hour video.
I want to just come down like a vampire. And I'm just not going to say anything. I'll let you talk and then you just hear me go.
He hath risen.
I disagree.
Fighting games?
You know what's bad? Popular game. Oh, I can't like that shit.
You're just a joy sucker around the blood
I
sucker.
suck a lot of joy out.
You look sucking, lad. It's good to see you, Josh.
It's good to see you again 3 times this week.
Indeed.
Arguably, we're getting to too many.
I think this is like the 20th episode we've recorded. We've done loads of these now.
I know.
Do you feel like we're getting any better?
I think we're getting loads better, to be honest.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting
I was actually, I think, because I've been making clips again and I've been watching some of the earlier episodes and
he's funny.
he's so beautiful.
Yeah.
I was definitely skinnier 20 episodes ago. That's what I've noticed. And I went, oh God, I don't know if I like being on camera extended for an entire year.
I think, I think that would be wild if because we basically got a weekly snapshot of what we look like. Mm-hmm. And it'll just be me in worse states of facial hair and you getting wider. But that's what
I get less and less hair as the episodes get on.
I can't wait till you make the shave.
And I'm gonna do it.
I think we can get some good hairstyles out of you though before we're all
You
done.
think?
I think we can go mohawk, but then we can go reverse
Vegeta
mohawk.
hairline.
Damn, that's a widow's fucking peak. That's illegal. You need a railing on that. Like,
I just need to go Super Saiyan. I need to do my training arc, and then I have no issues shaving off my hair.
Yeah,
Katie does.
Yeah,
my girlfriend will not be happy with me, but I don't give a fuck. My dad just did that randomly. My dad's got great hair, and just one day. He just
decided to get
the
rid
cue
of it.
ball, and my ma was fuming.
I think that I want to know what's in that because I think every man wants to do 2 things. One is shave their hair completely, and the other is dye it blonde. I don't know why.
What?
You know what I mean?
What the fuck are you talking about?
It's in every man.
Everyone wants to be Slim Shady at some point in their lives.
Not at the same time. They want to shave their heads because they think that'll make me look hard. And then they see someone with like a really nice dye job and they go, I could pull that off. And then they speak to literally any woman they know and they go,
please
do not fucking do that. It will not work for you.
Yeah, and I think I have a weird small egg-like head. So I'm not going to suit being bald.
No.
But thankfully I can grow a beard and I think that's somewhat alleviates.
You have a fine beard, but I really want to like fuck about with it.
We're definitely going to do it as a Patreon video
like
where you and Calvin can shave my head.
And stick your beard to the head.
Oh, hell yeah. Topsy-turvy. Topsy-turvy Lynch.
You
here
know,
he
like
comes.
the window for the mouth, can we just put that on your forehead and stick it up like that? Make completely bald in the middle.
Oh,
good time.
What do you want to talk about today, Josh?
I want to talk about on this sunny Sunday morning.
It's springtime. And do you know what spring reminds me of, Josh?
What?
Scary stuff.
Scary games.
Oh, we're talking about horror games and scary games.
Scary.
I fucking love horror as a thing. I can't say it with my stupid country accent. Horror. I just go horror like a pirate. Horror. I love horror.
I also love horror. The horrors. You've been hard.
I love horrors.
Don't let you been hard again. That was your streaming career, wasn't it? It was just
see that like I I loved streaming so much. If a lot of people watching might remember me from my streaming days, that's the first time I ever did anything really.
Yeah.
And it's where I started making videos. It started where I learned how to edit. At being on a microphone, being on camera, and actually me streaming led to a lot of opportunities outside of that. I never went anywhere in distance wise in streaming. I max had like 20 people watching the stream.
It's because you just didn't do it after a while.
Yeah, I just stopped doing it. But I was just busy. But that's the issue with it, is because you have to sit there for 3 to 4 hours at a time, and preferably multiple times a week.
Yeah.
So when you're a busy boy, it's harder to do.
When you're overworked, possibly illegally.
I mean, when I was working nights, it was quite good because I could just do it. I did a lot of afternoon streams for a little while, like lunchtime stuff. But now I don't really have much time. But for now,
yeah, I think. Like you say, springtime is when I think of horror and scary things. Yeah. I think this was just a bit of a lazy one for us, wasn't it? To be honest,
we just like scary games.
Break glass. We're not quite to. We're not quite to. What's your gaming hot take?
Because as soon as you went, should we talk about scary games? It's like that's surely an October thing.
No, we're mixing it up.
Well, what about all the people that are watching in October?
Oh,
we can just upload this episode again
and say nothing. We'll just put like an orange filter on everything. We'll just cut to Calvin occasionally, but he's got a pumpkin for a head.
Put echo and reverb in all the audio.
Yeah, exactly.
Octaves.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love scary games so much. It's because I love scary things.
Yeah.
I am a big shithouse softie in my heart of hearts. But definitely growing up, me and my friends used to like sneak watch Nightmare on Elm Street and Halloween, and my dad was really into horror, so I grew up with it a lot.
Yeah.
The worst thing about horror media in general is that I'd say 80% of it, dog shit.
Yeah.
But that 20
is big,
it hits hard. Like, and it's almost like the rush of finding something that sits in that golden area is fucking unbelievable. Same goes for games. Like,
yeah, for sure. Like horror is the biggest swing you can go for, I think. It's like horror or comedy, isn't it? Those are like famously the two. You have to swing big. Yeah. But horror is such a valuable thing, isn't it? Because if it works, it's amazing, like you say, and you get like a Hellraiser or something like that, or even just like a bad film like Event Horizon, but it's like scary enough.
But that horror gets away. Same, I think you're exactly right, in the same way that comedy does. It's two sides of the same coin, Josh.
Yeah.
Laughing and screaming.
Yeah.
And whereas bad comedy almost like it comes back around, and then same thing with bad horror.
Yeah.
It doesn't come back around to be scary again, but it comes back around to be good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's value in something that is so bad it's good again. We've talked about it before, but the bell curve of enjoyment of if someone's scored from 1 to 10, the first 1 to 4, like 1 is the funniest and 10 is the best, and it's just. You know what I'm talking about.
I was just wondering because it was like, oh, Dylan's doing maths now. So I just wondered that. And I could see like a little bit of doubt in your eyes when you said that. So 1 to 4 is... Wait.
And A squared plus B squared.
Exactly.
Is Halloween.
Sure is, bud.
Yeah, Halloween squared.
I think when it comes to games, my thing, I love horror aesthetics. Yeah. We all do, right? Like we love a grimy factory or something like that.
Calvin! You don't like horror, do you?
I don't like. No.
On mic, mute your microphone.
I don't like scary things or horror or anything like that. Makes me feel uncomfortable.
Why?
Because I'm a little bitch.
Fair enough.
When I was, I'm going to say 17 or 18. Me and my friends, we went to the cinema.
Yeah.
And the plan was we were going to go watch Kick-Ass 2.
It's a good film.
Where is this going?
By the way, is it Aaron Taylor Johnson?
Yeah. Bond.
Is he James Bond? I don't know. I don't care.
He's supposed to be the next.
All right, well, fuck all that. No one cares. But him at the end of Kick-Ass 2, where he's doing a one-arm pull-up shirtless. Woof.
Well,
I genuinely, I was like, what a good film. And then it's him him doing a one-armed chin-up, and I went, fuck. All right. And then the film ended, and I was like, it was a really
maybe
good
boys
film.
Are pretty cool.
Well, I wouldn't know about that because we went to see the second one.
Yeah.
And there was an issue with the projector. And there's like 6 of us, right? And I hadn't even seen the first Kick-Ass, but I was like, I'll watch the second one. I want something to do.
Yeah.
And then they said, okay, so you can either come back in 2 hours or you can watch something else, and it was Insidious 2. And I've never seen
Insidious 1.
So you were lost more than you were scared.
I went in, and all my friends were like, yeah, this will be sound. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. And I just sat and watched it, and I didn't sleep without a nightlight until I was like 24. Because I get scared in the dark.
Oh, you're actually scared of the dark?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Only if I watch a scary film, it stays with me, and then turn the light off when I'm in bed, and my mind just and I go, I'm gonna die.
Is it just the fear of death, or is it that something's going to kill you?
It's whatever that scary thing in Insidious.
Because I still half
What are you scared
believe,
of, Josh?
Scared of things coming at me quickly.
Oh, really?
That's like my thing. Is so like.
Is that why you like me so much? Because I can't move fast.
Exactly. I know where I can keep you at all times. I can just kite you around the room, circle straight for you. No, I don't like things like I do now, but as a kid, I got baited a lot by not understanding what a GIF was. So they used to have, like creepypastas and stuff, like, but it would be a green text, like a 4chan green text. But the image format would be a GIF. So I'd be there reading it, and obviously they make it blurry and small. So I'm just there like, oh, that's pretty. And then it would change to like a scream, and I'd just be like, in like IT or something. Like I got caught like 5 or 6 times, I think, on that one. And there was
So what you're saying is Five Nights at Freddy's is your favorite franchise?
Exactly. There was another one where it was like a Korean webcomic, but they'd fucked with like the code of the website. I don't know how. It may as well be magic to me, to be honest. The internet, it may as well be. But it was like, what's it called? The panel, like the final panel, which was like someone's face it zoomed in, and like the website made a noise as it did. So shit like that is like just triggers my lizard brain to be like, oh my fucking God.
Just panic.
But as it comes to like, I really like horror like Hellraiser, where it's like, you are so fucked here kind of horror.
Yeah.
I don't really care for serial killers. I don't really care for like slashery bits. I think they're funny.
Human entities don't frighten me.
No.
If it's a dude, I'm like,
I can kill it.
Whatever.
Yeah, like Predator.
I'll smash your skull in.
Yeah.
Do you think how many times do you think you have to stab me to get through this layer?
This is something.
serious?
This is something I think of because like I feel like again in every man there's the belief that we could kill a home invader. You know what I mean?
How many times have you fantasized someone breaking into your home?
Genuinely multiple times. To the point where like I've thought about exactly what I would do, because this I didn't get home invaded.
Finally.
But when I was in university, right, I lived with 4 other people, so it was me and someone downstairs, and then 3 people upstairs, and we were in like Liverpool, but we were in like fucking Smithdown Road, so it's not like bad. Anyway, they were all out, and I think it was the year my mum died, so I was probably taking drugs on my own. Good times.
Love
watching JoJo. And I heard someone upstairs, and I went, oh, someone must be back. So I went out, and there was just a fella on the landing, and I was like, and it really caught me off guard. So he clocks me and goes, fuck, and then starts to like come down the stairs, and he played this one. He played a fucking blinder, to be honest. He absolutely brilliantly. So he's just walking down the stairs quickly, and he just goes, you right? And I go, I'm so caught off guard. I go, you right? And then he just fucking belts it out the door. I was like, and I called the police afterwards, and I was like, there's just a fella in my house. I don't know who he is, but I was pretty fucked up at the time, I think. And I was like, is that a crime? And she was like, yes, that is a crime.
So you just finished watching JoJo and was like, is he my stan?
Yeah, that's what I was like, what the fuck? But I was really kind of like fucked up. So I was like, it took me too long to do it. But since then I've been like, what if someone breaks into my like suburban home? I'm ready.
See, I have a lovely dog. I have a great friend.
I wouldn't want to mess with Bailey.
But Bailey would fuck a small child up first
easily.
and foremost.
Easily.
And I think he could put some serious harm into someone that went into the house. And I think he's more a visual deterrent because he's a staffy. He's very cute.
He's very cute.
But he is just the densest little creature known to man.
He is.
Calvin was walking him the other day, and Calvin was not walking him.
No.
Bailey was walking Calvin. It was great.
Bailey is a goblin made of muscle. That's all he is. And especially because he's a rescue, and obviously he's done a really good job training him and getting him comfortable. But when you meet him for the first time, it's like, don't look him in the eye. Don't touch him unless he comes to you first.
He is the most autistic dog I know. Like,
Get him little headphones.
Little dog headphones.
Little dog headphones.
But we actually put on cartoons for him when we leave the house. I'm definitely serious.
What's his special interest?
Oh no, he only watches Avatar: Last Airbender. We put on Korra sometimes, but it's.
But he prefers.
He prefers.
Aang. He prefers. Aang to
I mean,
Korra.
who doesn't?
Get back to games anyway. I think this is something that's really interesting because I like games with a little bit of horror aesthetic, but I don't really need to be scared. I don't mind being scared, but I have a weird thing with me where I don't like people telling me what to do. So sometimes with a horror game, and it happens sometimes with horror films as well, when it's like not the hype around it, but when the game is like, you know, like Amnesia. You played Amnesia.
Oh yeah.
Amnesia sucks. We'll get back to it.
Yeah.
But the thing is like, oh, this is going to be dead spooky. And part of me then just goes, oh, I'm not fucking scared of this now then. Because even if it does actually scare me, I have to be like, oh, I'm not asked about this. Like, which is mad because every other type of game or film, I'll be like, give myself over to the experience, be like, whoa, what a good time. But horror games is like,
yeah, if someone's like, you're gonna shit yourself, and you don't fucking know me.
But something like Resident Evil, where it's like, it's just a game. And then you see Mr. X. I was screaming and shouting and hooting and hollering. Yeah, I shit myself. So I think I like a little fucking zest. A little zest of horror over it.
Because there is a very clear difference of retro horror and modern horror as well too. Like even in both and media and in games.
Yeah.
Like what would you say is the OG horror? Alone in the Dark?
Haunted House.
Haunted
on
House.
The Atari 2600. It's Alone in the Dark.
As we're on this specific subject, I did have a question for you, but it was like, when do you think games got scary? Do you think people were shitting themselves at Castlevania for the NES because it had a big bat?
Maybe the 8-bit bat.
Calvin, look up.
No,
Castlevania 1.
Don't look
bat.
up the Castlevania
It's
bat. What
terrifying.
a waste of time. When did games get scary? It's probably the PS1. It's got to be like Silent Hill. Right? Oh, Clock Tower, actually.
See, that's what I mean. So yeah, because Scissorman, we've talked about Scissorman before. Yeah. I want to see him in game because he looks. No, it's not even that. It's like the one. There's one with like a big.
Why
tongue.
did you make Calvin Google a giant bat? I mean, if I saw that in real life, I'd fucking shit myself.
It's not even that. I don't even know where it is.
Anyway, it's there. It's bottom right. I see it there. That.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly it.
Terrifying to the people of 1993. Yeah, that is just a goal bat, isn't it? Yeah, I think Clock Tower is really interesting to me because it's probably the first horror game I can think of where I remember playing it as a teenager, as a 14-year-old or something like that, and being like, oh, I'm actually scared of the little child with scissors, which is quite embarrassing because, again, I feel like I could take Scissorman in a fight. I would fuck Scissorman up, actually, to be
100%.
fair. He's like 4'2" or something. I would boot him, but fucking any day of the week, I'll put money on that. But
because I remember, so when we were young, I feel like games had already got there. Obviously,
definitely.
well ahead. So I remember some of my first experiences for horror was the Resident Evil 1 remake for the GameCube.
yeah,
Lad,
scary.
terrifying. Have
Scary
you
stuff.
ever played the remake?
I've not played the remake of one now.
It's really. I've never played
seen
the
it.
original Resident Evil 1, but I love the remake. And as a child playing that, the really famous zombie head turn,
Yeah.
always
Still
made me
scary, though. I think that's
really
creepy.
really effective. And even just the notion of like, because obviously that was proper survival horror where you had to manage every item you had.
Yeah.
And you had to go back into the save room. Save rooms are another fucking concept that I want to talk about. But like, knowing that if I fire too many bullets, I'm fucked.
You just can't win the game.
And my favorite and most hated part of that game is the realization that every zombie that you've killed, Calvin, in that mansion in Resident Evil 1, if you just leave them alone and you go, oh yeah, I've killed them. Like every other game, I've killed the baddies. If you leave them alone for a certain amount of time, they will come back with 4 times the strength.
The redheads.
The crimson heads.
Yeah, redheads.
Yeah, and the gingers. They come back with super claws, and what you have to do, and you have to burn every zombie you kill, you have to burn their body, and you have limited lighter fluid, and you have to find a lighter, and you only have, as Jill Valentine, you only have 8 item slots. As the other character, Chris, you only have fucking 6. So the lighter is one thing, The lighter fluid is one thing, guns one thing, ammo is one thing. Every key for every possible thing is its own stuff. And the thing that you need to save the game is a slot. You have to go to a typewriter and use ink to save your game. And if you've used all of the ink in the game, you can't save anymore.
What the fuck?
It's
great.
fucking awesome.
And
it's
not,
so good.
It's not that hard, right?
No,
it's not that hard, Calvin, but there's another game.
There's a level of oppressive stress the whole time because you're thinking like, oh, if I fuck this. Because the first time I went through that game as a youngin' and realized,
you can't just save whenever you want.
Oh,
you
can't save whenever you want. You can't blast everything. And the fact that I haven't put everyone on fire has ruined the game and I have to start again. There was something like terrifying and compelling about that as well.
It reminds me, there's another game, Calvin, called Hellblade, where the character has schizophrenia, I think, or auditory hallucinations.
What is it specific? It is a very specific thing. It's not. I can't remember.
I think it's just auditory hallucinations, but I can't remember it very much. But it's a really interesting game, especially if you're playing headphones, because you'll hear yourself, the character talking to herself, but like in a hallucinatory way. But it tells you.
Producing.
Yeah, it is.
You can't work on cameras.
So,
fuck's sake, he's out of focus again, you fucking idiot.
Why do you keep shocking yourself, you stupid cunt?
Fucking hell, another camera broken. You can't do this fucking job, Calvin.
Well, yeah, that is basically the game.
You're bad at producing.
Yeah.
So it's podcasting.
I know. I'm aware.
You got a big fucking nose.
You're an average bass player at best.
Shut the acceptable. My nose is not big.
You're an above average bass player.
My nose is not big. Get fucked.
It's part of the lore now.
He does have a big cock.
I don't have a big cock. I definitely don't have a big cock.
No, not conk. Not cock. Conk.
Conk?
Oh.
Conk.
All of my extremities are small and average.
All but one.
No, I've got massive feet.
You do have Sideshow Bob feet, to be fair.
Yeah.
You look a bit like Sideshow Bob. It's weird to me that you never wear a shirt when we're recording. You just wear the little grass skirt and your big clown shoes.
Right, Josh, talk about games.
I was talking about Senya's Sacrifice anyway.
Yeah.
It tells you really early on in the game, like, oh, if you die so many times, like you'll just lose. Like you can't die and restart very many times, otherwise your entire save file's gonna get wiped. But that's not true. It lies to you, which I think is a really cool idea, but it makes the game way, way more tense. And that's what I like about the horror games I like, and not like cosmic horror or you're just fucked. That's what I like in films, because I'm like, oh, that's pretty bad. Why would you open the puzzle box to hell? You fucking idiot. I would never do that. But in games, I don't like where it's like, oh, we've just got to run away and be a pussy, because in Amnesia, The Dark Descent, old flap face, I would try and chuck a lantern at him. You know what 100%. I mean? He doesn't look that hard.
Do you know what's Amnesia's a real important one for me? Not from I like it. I think it's shit, but because actually, the first time I played it was around the time it came out, which
Amnesia.
Amnesia,
Yeah, me too.
And I think I could only get like 20 minutes of that game, and I was like, I can't fucking play this, because it did this really interesting thing where, well, firstly, I knew how scary it was because of the internet, and that for me affects me more.
For
it's like if everyone's like, you will shit yourself. The man told me, and PewDiePie screamed at the game. I might scream.
Yeah, it's true.
And so, but when I first booted it up, I think it's like somebody actually gifted it to me and everything. So I was like, right, I better play this. And it did this thing, like as you're walking in headphones, it like doubled up your steps as like an audio thing. I remember just being like, if I'm shit myself now, whenever the big bad monsters start appearing, I'm gonna fill my cacks, and I can't do it. I loved it. I was like, this is so good. And I used to make people come over to my house and play, like maybe my girlfriend at the time be like,
play Amnesia for 20 minutes.
no, I made them play it, and then so they all had the same experience. It was really good. And then like last year I streamed it.
You were streaming it, yeah.
I streamed Amnesia, thinking the same thing, because again, most of my Twitch career was horror games and people being able to jump scare me and stuff. I'll talk about that a bit more later, but that game sucks ass.
Really bad.
As soon as the monsters appear, it becomes 10,000% less scary.
A really boring stealth game.
Yeah, it's just like, and you can just run around them, and it could become stressful when some appears and you go, ah!
Yeah.
But then like the atmosphere of the game just fucking crumbles. It starts off so strong.
Yeah.
But then it's just, I've only have a fucking vagina-faced Jeff over here to fucking run away from.
He's not that scary.
He's not that scary.
There's loads of things I could talk about there, but I'm going to choose this one. I think. Sorry, my brains is not working. I saw 3 pass in front of me and I went, let's go the middle one. I think with that game, especially like of its time, it was definitely unique and it caused a grim trend in the same way that kind of Five Nights at Freddy's did. But I think the massive difference is there is no choice in that game. You can only just go forward. And the thing about doubling up steps is really interesting because that reminds me, I don't know if this is an example that someone used famously, but someone built like a tech demo where you just walk down a dark hallway, but after a certain amount of time, they would just make another pair of footsteps appear.
Ooh.
And just see how long people could go on for because they would vary. It would get faster and faster and faster, but there was nothing there. And I think it's that thing, isn't it? It's always anticipation, which is why like a fake out jump scares really like you're being edged into screaming.
You're gooning into a fucking state of fear.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but you know how cathartic it is, like you're watching Hereditary or something and you get faked out and then someone gets the head cut off or whatever. I think we can just see how much it's evolved by looking at like Amnesia, Dark Descent to Resident Evil 7 and the house part of that where Jax and Zach Hill's fucking chasing you around. But you have a gun and it might not be that useful, but it's something. So it's the choice. Like
you've got that wall.
Him like in Amnesia as well, Calvin, because the monster looks shit. You're encouraged not to look at it because it'll make you go insane. Where it's just like a kind of naked fella with flappy mouth. Like it's crap. It's like, so in the 1800s. But now I feel like even if there was one who come walking in, it freaked me out a little bit, but it wouldn't be like, oh my God, what the fuck's happening there? But like, so you're encouraged not to look at it. You're just encouraged to turn 360 degrees
as soon as
and
you get a
fucking
sniff
walk
of
away.
that thing, you're like, if you look at it, it's bad for you.
Just leave the room.
Yeah.
Just walk away. Legally, it cannot stop you. But with Jack,
it's like those like people who say they're police officers, but they're just community officers. One of them.
Fake fascists. Anyway. But I think, sorry, just with Jack, because when he sees you, he doesn't just like make an inhuman scream. He's like, I see you. And you're like, fuck. And then you have the choice and him walking towards you because he's not running. He's not arsey. Like he will get to you if he wants to. He's got all the time in the world. Way, way scarier because because of it's an amazing game. No matter how you escape, he knows he's going to find you again because he's put millions of fancy keys and locks everywhere. But the choice between do I peg it or do I try and shoot him to kill or stun him is way, way scarier because as he's walking to you slowly and he's like, I'm going to really fuck you up now. And he's like this far away from you, like, Jesus. And I love that. That's like the choice. It's always about choice for me, like not, oh, you just have to.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like those games like Amnesia, because Amnesia started that trend of games taking away any of that onus, which works as almost like the initial gut reaction of, I can't do anything, I'm fucked.
Yeah.
But that means you can only do one thing. Which is run away.
Which is boring. It's the same. It reminds me of like Alien Isolation, which is an incredible game for 6 of its 12 hours. Yep. And then after hour
streamed
6,
that as well, and I stopped.
After hour 6, especially on the higher difficulties where it can just one shot you, it's not scary. It's just an annoyance, and it's an amazing game, but it should be half its length. And so all of the games that I've written, I was like, oh, these are really good horror games, are like 4 hours long.
Yeah,
just get in, get out. Boom.
Yeah. Alien Isolation is a funny one because that came out with around the same time as the Kinect. Do you know this feature?
Right. Tell me what the feature is because I think I know what it is.
Yeah. So Alien Isolation and the PlayStation version didn't have this because when it came out for the 360, the Kinect was thriving. Clearly,
billions
and
sold.
It automatically had this feature that you had to turn off. That because obviously the Kinect had a microphone and was a camera. If you were too loud in your own room in real life, it would hear you and come and kill you.
So imagine how many times Dylan died because his ma shouted him for his tea or something. Fuck's sake! Just kill him.
Ready.
Dylan! Shut up, Alex! Second mouth. I'll have a bit of that too, thank you. I don't know why they
food fuming. Hard game. Isolation.
It is a hard game, and that's the other thing is that like it's such a weird balance in games because horror games, I don't think you should ever die at all. You should die 5 times or less in a horror game, because as soon as you get killed by the alien 5 times, you're like, well,
it ruins it.
It can't be scary anymore.
The first time I played Isolation, I stopped playing it because I didn't even get to the alien. I kept getting killed by androids. I went, this is the Bourne bit, and it's too difficult. And I fucking hate this.
You tried to kill him.
Yeah, not even. It was just like, I was trying the stealth and I just got stuck at this one bit where there was just 10 in a room and they kept killing me.
Yeah.
And I go, and it stopped being tense.
Yeah.
It just got frustrating.
Yeah.
So there is a really fine line. I think older horror games were better at this.
Yeah.
Like Silent Hill, Resident Evil. He didn't die a lot. The enemies don't do loads of damage.
No.
They're just oppressive.
I'm not sure I died at all in playing Silent Hill. Maybe like
Silent
once
Hill
or twice. Yeah,
I haven't played the original Silent Hill, but Silent Hill 2, which I think that game made me fill my panties. Like I really, I have a really vivid memory of playing Silent Hill 2 for the first time. Maybe about like
I'm just imagining you in like a bra and knickers and nothing else.
Just
like a nice pair of tights. Gets home from school. Chains come up. He's wearing
my school bra comes off.
Negligee. My school bra.
And my home bra goes on.
Supports the cut.
But I used to, because obviously it was on the PlayStation 2, and so I had my PlayStation 2, but I wanted to talk to my school friends. So I'd have my Xbox 360 on and in party chat, but I'd have then the PS2 on the TV and I'd be playing. And there's this real famous bit that at the end of the hospital, you've played Silent Hill 2, yeah, you know, the end of the hospital, where you fight Pyramid Head for the first time.
Yeah.
He appears in the apartments, but which is, lad, when you first see Pyramid Head and he's just behind the bars and it's just,
it's weird coming into it. I can't imagine what that must have been like for the first time.
Like the fact that we knew, as he is super famous character, probably the most famous horror character of all time.
Game-wise, yeah.
Game-wise, yeah. Is Pyramid Head. You know who Pyramid Head is, Calvin?
No, I've just looked him up.
He's a fella with a pyramid for
I know
head.
who he is now.
Yeah, Pyramid Head. So
did you not get it from the fucking name, Calvin?
No, but I wanted to. I mean, it makes sense.
Triangular prison man.
So
I've never played a horror game in my life. So
yeah, that's fair.
Just you wait, Calvin. Just you wait. Anyway,
but that first. Sorry, you muted me. So that first time that you see Pyramid Head, there's no reference to him before that point. There's just this jacked fella just stood in the shadows. And you go, who the fuck's this dude? And you go into the room beside and you come out and then he's gone. That is infinitely more scary than 90% of the horror output that there's been in the past 20 years.
Yeah.
But at the end of the hospital, there's this bit where you've just finished it. I think you've just fought Pyramid Head and then you go down the water or whatever. And there's this like square like path that you have to go down to go to a lift.
Yeah.
And it does this thing with the camera as you're walking down the hall. The camera is faced at the end of the hall that you're walking towards.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm on about?
I know the moment.
And it just keeps going. Every time you turn the corner, the camera then changes.
Yeah.
And you're like, fucking hell, why is this taking so long? And then once it gets like 5 or 6 rotations in, Pyramid Head just appears behind you.
Yeah.
And I remember being on Xbox voice chat, just immediately being like, fuck! And all my friends be like, what? Pyramid Head! Screaming like, fuck.
He's in the room.
I fucking shit myself. Like, and I remember just being like, that's the coolest thing that's ever happened. I fucking loved it so much.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. And I think most of my favorite horror moments aren't necessarily in games. There are some which are in horror games. There are some horror games which I really like, which I want to talk about. But I think the earliest one that sticks with me, right, is hilarious, right? Because we're going back to New York City. We're going back to Spider-Man. Calvin, do you remember at the end of the first Spider-Man game what happens to... Right, so Dr. Octopus is the baddie. And then Carnage is the other baddie.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, right? And can you just Google, like, I guess Doc Carnage or whatever and just get him up on the screen.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
So at the end, like you beat everyone because you're Spider-Man, obviously. But like as a last thing, Carnage's symbiote goes on to Dr. Octopus. And you're Spider-Man, so you are fully capable of everything. PS1?
Yeah, I do PS1.
No, not Doc, DOC. Oh, come on, Calvin. Don't make me Google this for you. DOZ. There we go.
PS1. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that guy.
Oh my
And then
God.
they merge together.
Fucking baloney, man.
And then it's like, it's not even a question of fight him. It's like, you need to run away. And he's making all kinds of horrible noises and stuff. He's spooky.
I love invincible enemies in games.
Yeah,
man.
well, this is what I really like about it. A lot of my favorite. Look at Venom there, just chilling.
He's having a
I
lovely
love
time.
Venom, man. He's hilarious. But he's just a big buddy in that one. But yeah, the idea of just taking all of your power away. I think Silent Hill actually does that really well because it puts you in situations where you're like, what the fuck's going on? You get a little bit, you feel like you get into grips with something, and then they'll take that back away from you, whether it's like a pyramid head or whether it's something in the room which changes. You know what I mean?
What do you think of that style of horror? So, a lot of people now, if they're playing like it's getting my like siblings to try and play some old school horror games, it doesn't work because of like tank controls. It's not even like I loved it, and it's a very, and you could say this is intentional, or you could say that it was.
I don't think it was. Cope. I think it's complete cope.
Yeah, but like in Resident Evil 1, when you had to hold still, move left and right to do a little spin, and then hold forward to walk.
Yeah.
But if I totally believe that it was like this makes it way more scary.
Yeah.
On top of it makes it well easier to code. It's one of those like nice happy accidents. Do you know what I mean?
You know what I think though? I think horror is something that you can't. Horror is like a lot of genres. You can't start someone out with the classics all the time. You have to let them make their own way into it, and if they want to, like. It's maybe not the best example, but if you show someone like The Thing, I don't know, you ever see The Thing?
I love The Thing.
Right, I love The Thing. It's my favorite horror film. Calvin, you seen The Thing?
Shot.
No.
It's a great horror.
Really?
You know what, Calvin? I think it's a really accessible horror film because I don't think it's that scary, but I think it's a great horror concept of like, can you trust anyone? Stuff like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, that kind of thing, where there's no like gore or anything. But I think
There's
if someone said
there's a
to
lot
me,
of gore in The Thing.
well, there is quite a lot of gore in The Thing, but it's, actually, with the fucking
Lad, what are you talking?
And then the head cut. Yeah, no, actually, never
That
mind.
film fucks humans up.
I meant Invasion of the Body Snatchers more than The Thing. There's quite a lot. Yeah, Donald Sutherland pointing at the camera and going,
That's the noise. Yes, that's the noise.
I think they're quite accessible, but I think if you'd have told me at like 12 or 11, like, oh, watch The Thing, I'd just be like, this is boring. I think it's the same thing with Resident Evil. Like, they might not be, there are definitely moments in time now. But I still think they're really good.
Because I was that age when I played those games, but that's because at that time they were new.
Yeah, but I think it's a horror is a really, really hard thing to recommend because I think it's probably the thing where your vibe has to match the person you're recommending it to the most. Because I think we like quite different horror. Maybe I don't really like. I like I've told you what kind of horror I like. I like supernatural, non-gory horror. So maybe
That's exactly what I like. So the things that I am scared of is paranormal stuff.
Yeah,
that's actually what I'm probably afraid of in real life.
You scared of ghosts? Do you believe in ghosts?
See,
answer now. 5, 4, 3, 2.
I don't.
Have you ever seen a ghost?
No, I don't believe in ghosts. But what scares me is if they're real, because the amount of people that like. I'm definitely serious. That's like my ultimate fear, because you know why?
You become a ghost.
No. Because if the existence of ghosts means that my concept of the universe disappears.
Ooh.
And it's like this Lovecraftian, like mind melting, like suicide work. If I seen and got the proof of existence of like life after death and paranormal activity and this thing of we have no idea what the fuck's going on, and that thing that we don't know is sinister. I don't know. I would go insane. Like,
see, this is something that I really like, because I don't really like Lovecraft horror, but I tell you what I do love. I love
the name of his cat. You can Google that yourself, folks.
I'm not Googling or saying that. It's just really in my head now.
Sorry. Right. Do you know the name of his cat, Calvin?
Don't fucking Google the name of H.P. Lovecraft's cat.
I don't know the name, but I've got about 4 candidates in my head.
It is the
gotta be
worst one
the
you
worst
think
one,
of.
is it?
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
the
worst
worst one you can possibly think of. He's Conan the Barbarian rocks though. I know he didn't write that, but he was mates with the fellow who did.
I was like, what the fuck are you bringing Conan into this for?
Because Conan's fucking sound. Anyway, what I really love is like X-Files, detective agency who just deals with paranormal shit on the reg. I love that kind of side of things.
Have you watched Mob 100? Mob Psycho 100?
No,
sorry.
I've not.
I've
heard it's really good.
You would love it.
But you see, Dylan, I don't do anything that people tell me.
True.
All my
It's popular
recommendations.
and people say it's good. Nah.
Yeah, exactly. And I've also seen clips of it and gone, that looks pretty good. So it's like triple fucked. It's triple fucked.
It's got big My Hero like power burst. Yeah, moments. You'd love it.
I'll watch it in about 4 years and get back to you. So make a note of this in the comments, friends, and I will come back to you and say, do you remember 5 years ago you did that?
Do you know what's really upsetting? Quick horror side is that I really wish anime had more horror. Anime horror doesn't exist.
Which is mad.
It exists, but it all sucks. Like,
yeah, it's interesting because Japanese horror games, stuff like Siren, I think Siren's got a fucking incredible atmosphere.
I have never played any of the Siren games.
Would maybe like them. I don't know. They're a bit awkward. I just wanted to talk about some games that I think are worth it horror wise, and mine are not horror games. So I'm thinking you can catch the actual. You can say the scariest horror games you played, maybe when you were streaming, because you played it a lot, didn't you?
Yeah.
But
I do have a list.
I have a list, Calvin. So get your Googling fingers ready. No, the first one is Subnautica. I think Subnautica is a good entryway to horror because there are definitely points of that.
Would you say that's a horror game?
No, I don't. But this is the thing: is that I like games who can do a little bit of horror, because for me the best horror is like get in, get out. It always leaves a moment. The first time you see a Leviathan is scary, but the first time
I didn't think Subnautica, again, I haven't played Subnautica, but I didn't think you would call it a very horror game. From what I've looked,
I have a Subnautica thought.
Yeah.
I bought Subnautica because I thought this game looks cool.
Yeah,
and
it is.
And then I played literally the first 10, 15 minutes of it. And I thought, I'll just have a little Google it, because I bought it years after it came out.
Yeah.
Just had a little Google. And then I saw a load of like, oh, this is the scariest game in the world. And
Yeah.
I just stopped playing it.
It depends
I didn't
how.
get past the first like 10 minutes. I went, no.
really?
What's it called?
Oh,
Is it
that's sick.
thalassophobia? Is that fear of?
Thalassophobia.
Yeah, thalassophobia.
What's
It depends-
Thalassophobia?
It's fear of. It's
Like,
not fear of water, but it's open.
submerged up
Yeah.
Things,
Things
open
underneath
water.
you.
The whole-
Like the being in the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, like the first time, because it's all about like stranger in a strange land. You crash land. There is no one but you and the computer. So you build your little swimming thing, and then you build your first little submersible, and you go to the ship. So it's very much like, master your environment and blah, blah, blah. But while you're mastering it, there's a lot of shit there. So again, like the first time you see a Leviathan is not scripted, but it's definitely designed to not be immediately. It's definitely designed for you to be like, I think I've got a pretty good idea of this game. You're like, I'll watch out for that. But the first time a Leviathan sees you is when it becomes very, very scary.
that's sick.
And there was a moment where I eventually get a submarine, which is my favorite game in a vehicle ever. It's just perfect, the Cyclops. But the Subnautica map, it's not like randomly generated. So there is an edge to it where it drops off and becomes like a trench. And there is nothing there
Yeah.
but Leviathans that want to kill you.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't know this, so I'm just sailing. I'm crap at directions anyway, so my sat nav's just a bit gimped, and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably heading in the right direction or something. And I just hear noises, and then like 4 or 5 of these ghost Leviathan things are swimming towards me. And I remember screaming, I'll give you a thing. So I'm just there like, there's nothing here. And then I see one, I go, oh, fuck. And then turn around, I see another one. And then they just start coming towards me. And I'm like, no. I remember saying this, no. Get away from me. And I'm getting back further away from the thing until eventually I'm just screaming, fuck off. Please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. Until I get back to the thing, until I get back to safe land. And then I'm like, I think I'm done with this game for a while. I didn't play it for like a month afterwards because it was just too much for me. But I think that's a good accessible one, because you're never completely fucked. You're never like completely ruined. But if you get tossed out of your submersible or submarine or whatever by a Leviathan, and then it's just you swimming in the water with it, yeah, you're just like, oh, that's not good.
It's like being in the waters in Banjo-Kazooie when the shark appears.
Jaws, yeah.
Yeah. That's what you're describing is what I wanted. I know a very different game, but ocean-based. You remember Dredge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Dredge.
I really like Dredge. I wanted that, like, my vibe when I was looking at it was like, oh, this is like a little boat, but like Lovecraftian scary game. This is gonna be sick. But I never went too deep into that real scare territory because obviously you play as a boat.
No, you play as a man in a boat.
Yeah, but you never
play as the boat. You're an animated
I really
boat.
like Dredge.
You might like Sunless Sea then, because that's more of that thing I was talking about the other week when we were getting drunk. That's definitely more of that thing where you are just a little boat which can't.
What's it called? Sunless Sea.
Sunless Sea. Yeah.
Ooh, I'll look into it. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Other games that I very recommend that we were talking about. So the thing that probably made my small Twitch career go from 0 to 1 was a game called Visage. I'm sure you remember it well.
I do.
I loved that game so much. So we've talked about PT before in this podcast, Calvin. I'm sure you remember.
What?
Calvin, that was mine. We have talked about PT, playable trailer. So when that was cancelled, you remember we talked about PT before.
Definitely did talk about. We're not talking about it again. Go watch the episode.
Yeah.
Everyone who's listening to this knows what PT is, apart from you. So we'll just leave it.
So when that was cancelled and everyone was really sad about it, Visage is essentially the spiritual successor. Very good, very cheap. An indie game, but looks and plays incredibly.
Yeah.
It's essentially a PT ripoff.
Yeah.
That's all it is. You're in a house and you're walking through the house and it's scary. And shit happens. But it's basically got like 4 stories.
Yeah.
And basically when you start the game, it kind of gives you like little spooks or whatever, but nothing. It's that thing that we've talked about where it's the atmosphere where nothing's actually chasing you, but it's your mind tricking you to thinking that you're always being chased. That game is perfect at that feeling.
They do a lot of good stuff to make it feel like your mind's playing tricks on you. Yeah, Visage looked really fun. I don't want to play it because now I've seen all of it. There's nothing to do.
I think, you can't really do that twice. I think if you left it enough time, you'd probably forget a lot of those bits. But streaming that was so many people got to see me genuinely terrified. A lot of people came up to me like who I know and go, "Why are you putting on being so scared?" Like they thought I was faking it. No, I was genuinely screaming for my life and throwing off headphones and stuff. It's because it starts off 4 different stories. You basically pick an item in the house and it goes, "This is fucking Josephine's thing," and then there's this old lady. The old lady goes to chase you. The old lady was terrifying. There's an old lady. I think there's a child.
The child was not very scary.
No, there's like a Grim Reaper type fucking person.
I just remember one where you were walking through a bunch of mannequins and then they would like absorb you. Which you have to do like 20 times because you kept fucking it up.
But I actually fucked up the end of that game.
Did you really end it?
So you need lighters to do certain things, and
like in real life.
Yeah, and you like to so say it does the same thing as Amnesia. If you're in the dark too long, then you'll lose sanity, and then more spooky things will happen. You don't die very often, which is something I love. But the more insane you are, the more fucked up shit will happen. That is genuinely terrifying.
That was the best part of those games was they had lots of stuff and that because the big cutscene parts were not that interesting, but the bits in between were really, really good.
There was one bit. I've made loads of clips out of this. The reason that I was able to do a lot of Twitch stuff is because the clips I made out of Visage were the first times I ever made proper clips and the first ones that ever got viewed by anybody. Yeah. And brought a lot of people into the stream. So it was the first time. My first attempt at internet stuff that worked was from Visage, so I hold it very dear to my heart actually. But there's this one during the grandmother story. Like they used to just do stuff and it'd be different every time. Obviously, they procedurally generate what events happen at what time, and it could be different or whatever. Some things are the same, but there's a lot that happens like that. And you will find a random item, and you're the hallways that you've seen a million times. That's why it's so effective, is because you're just circling the same house over and over and over again. And then there's slight differences and slight things, pieces of the puzzles that you go, "Oh, that's for that." And sometimes you go, "I don't know what the fuck I'm doing," and then. As soon as you start going, the game then starts giving you crumbs. It's class. But there's a bit where a doorway that you go through a million times, there's just one time where the grandmother's head is just peeking. And just very slightly. And it's almost like if you weren't paying attention, you'd miss it. Yeah. And because I was paying attention, I filled my cacks. Like my fucking panties were ruined again, Josh. Had to go back to the
It's an
boutique.
expensive time. That's what all the Patreon money gets spent on, guys. It's just Dylan
Dylan's
refilling
fancy
his
underwear.
panties. What's it called? Yeah, Visage, but punching higher than it really had any right to.
I don't think it did too well because it was in early access for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think it almost it did that thing where games used to do quite a lot, was that they'd send it to like Let's Players.
Yeah.
And that's when I first seen it. I think 3 years before I played it, and I think it took ages to come out. So they blew their load too early, and they basically marketed it well too early. So then when it actually came out, nope, everyone forgot about it already.
Yeah.
Apart from me, I think it just appeared in the PlayStation store. And I
It
went,
was probably cheap, wasn't it?
oh, dirt cheap,
Yeah.
and I was like, that's that fucking thing. I'll try that. I played it for 10 minutes in my gaff, not streaming, and I went,
Yeah,
this is perfect.
I definitely recommend Visage, or they say in English, face. No, it definitely punching above its weight. Calvin, how long have we done?
I think about 50.
Oh, really?
I was gonna say there's a lot I can talk about,
Do you want to do a part 2 of this?
just like after this.
Well, no, because the Patreon that we're recording after this comes out before this.
Okay.
The next public one we can double up. Well,
You know what?
I
What is more horror appropriate than making a bunch of sequels that nobody wants to watch?
yes, I think next public episode 16, because I have so much more stuff
I
to
have
talk
so
about.
many games that I can talk about.
We can
and
talk
we've
about this
done
first.
one each. So what I would say is, Gooners, in the comments, talk to me and Dylan, I suppose,
And
if you
me.
want to
Hi.
too. Even Calvin, if the mood takes you.
Yeah.
Give us your scary recommendations.
Yeah.
Games, films, books. Books especially.
See,
But especially
I
games.
love recommendations because I feel like I've consumed most horror things that I'd enjoy. A few games that I've missed that I know I will, but like anytime I get a whiff of a horror film that I know I love, it's instantly watched, and then the search begins anew. It's fucking horrible.
It's true.
Looking for the holy grail, and every time you find something, I'd love to even do a horror film podcast or something. Maybe we can do that in the Patreon. Talk about
Yeah,
horror
maybe,
film. I don't know,
maybe.
maybe whatever.
But yeah, give me scary horror, like deliberately horror game things. I think next week I really want to talk about my like more unintentionally or like little sections of horror game
Yeah.
of games which really stuck with me.
I also want to talk about bits and games that aren't horror games that are fucking terrifying.
That's literally what I just.
Sorry.
And most of all, what I really want to talk about, and I'm half sad that I didn't get a chance today, but I'm very excited, which is about how fucking scary the Rugrats are. And especially the Rugrats PS1 game. So if you have any memory of them, and I have receipts for how fucking weird those are.
Low poly stuff just has a bit of an edge to it, doesn't it?
Did you just say like, I'm really, like, this is the call? And you said self-dead cool or dead hard,
No.
which obviously I am dead cool and dead hard.
No, I just mean that like we're just a bit edgy. We're edgers. Do you know what's not scary? Recording podcasts. And you know where you can record podcasts? At the very famous Liverpool podcast studios. I got it in, Josh. If you want a podcast that looks as good as this, don't scare your audience away. Come to Liverpool Podcast Studios. Go to liverpoolpodcaststudios.com. Book in. We'll treat you right. We'll give you a kiss.
Yeah. Top quality podcast at a price which isn't frightening.
Goodbye, folks. I love you.